I regret to inform you that the Life Worth Wasting podcast is about to begin.
Welcome to another episode of the Life Worth Wasting podcast. I'm your host, the one, the only, the Devo, and I am joined as always with...
Bob.
Okay. Well, since we did have a late recording this last week, we already covered Monday's episode of Reincarnated as a Slime, so we're not going to go into that. So we're going to probably skip ahead and go into JoJo. It's going to be hard to try to have any kind of positivity, Bob. I am not in a good mood right now. I'm not feeling it. I'm starting my new job tomorrow, so I'm a little nervous about that, but I cut all nicotine out cold turkey yesterday. I have been snapping at my wife like crazy all day. I'm in a pissy mood. My executive desk chair that I've had for like 6 years snapped in half today. And I'm sitting on a fucking stool like a giant child. Awful. But we're still here for the people, recording this horrible podcast that even less people listen to now than it did a week ago.
Yeah, you ever find out the one person who unsubscribed was?
You know what? I don't know, but I suspect if we don't get any more downvotes, I have a pretty sneaking suspicion of who it is.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna go into JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Part 5, Golden Wind. The episode, I kind of thought it was gonna start from where we kind of left off with the enemy stand, Babyface or whatever the fuck, the clone stand, having been defeated by having its innards eaten by a fucking golden piranha. But apparently it lives on and has evolved into its adult form to finish off Josuke. But Josuke apparently at some point had turned the motorcycle that was on the ground into his hand. So when the enemy stand user tried to consume his hand for the second time, had the hand revert into a motorcycle, blowing him up from the inside. Even though that's kind of what they had literally just done with the piranha thing, so it's kind of like just doing it again. It's like they had two different ideas and didn't know which one they thought was cooler, so they just did both. So I was kind of disappointed they kind of wasted their time with that. So they head to the location and they get a message from the boss, the mob boss, saying, okay, I need this dude to use his stand, Moody Blues, which Moody Blues is the stand that can relive a moment in time. It's like a stand recorder. It records time and space. He goes, go to this location, activate your stand, rewind back like 14 days or whatever, and hit play. And we get to see that one of the other capos, a capo we've actually met before who is an old man, is relaying a message to nobody, knowing that sometime in the future that they would have Moody Blues go back in time to witness this statement, where he gives them advice on where to go next to meet with the boss to bring them his bastard daughter. So he shows them a picture of Venice, I believe it's Venice. Venice is the city on the water, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then burns the image. Now, as this is happening, we kind of get flashes of the hitman squad of mob people who have been chasing after our heroes this entire part of the season. This boss, who is standing over a guy, forcing him to do something on a computer. We're not exactly aware at this time what he is trying to accomplish and threatening this man to do. We later find out that what he was trying to achieve was they had located the ashes of the picture that was burned and were trying to reassemble them into a viewable image. I'm very confident that you cannot take a picture that was turned to ash, no matter how much computer technology you have, figure out what the fuck it was.
Yeah, it doesn't seem very realistic.
No, so they actually do.
You're talking about realism on the show.
JoJo, that's true.
Yeah.
They assemble it back into like a pixelated version of the original image, and they're like, oh, they're going to Venice. So they send this guy who has an ice stand to chase down our heroes. So Jotaro, a 15-year-old who's never driven a car, well, I mean, he has driven a car before, but he doesn't have a license, is driving down the highway headed towards Venice. Him and with Mister in the back seat. As far as I can tell, the rest of our heroes are still inside of the turtle that should be located on the car, in the car. I feel that there's a chance the turtle is not in the car because you never actually see it in the car. So I think it might be a misdirection. But they start to slip and slide on the highway as if there was, a wet road. To find out, it was the work of an enemy stand user who has attached himself onto the roof of the car, and his stand's actually kind of weird in that he can hyper freeze things. So he starts to freeze the outside of the car, and Mister actually touches the window of the car, and his pinky freezes to it, and when he pulls away, he rips his pinky off, which is pretty great. The thing that's a little strange, though, is that the guy who is trying to capture Trish freezes Giorno's foot to the speed pedal, causing them to drive crazily down the highway, which could end with a horrible wreck, which could kill her. So it seems like the thing you don't want to do. Also, Mister's bullets, goblins don't seem to be quite useful, in that they get encased in ice. So the solution that I keep forgetting his fucking name. I just keep wanting to say Jotaro, but it's not Jotaro. It's fucking Giorno. Giorno warms the bullets in his hand so they can activate, and then uses his stand to implant energy in them, so when they make contact, they will grow into vines that will shatter the ice, releasing the enemy stand user from the roof of the car. The enemy stand user, though, has a solution to this. He makes ice skates, and then ice skates up the highway as fast as their car is traveling, and attaches himself to it. So Giorno's solution is to drive them into the ocean. And that is the conclusion of our episode. I really do appreciate that these episodes are just fucking moving. Like, these last, 6-7 episodes are just, fight, moving, people's lives are being threatened, just shit is going. A lot of good energy. I know it's only been a few days since the last time we recorded, Bob, but have you watched any more of part 3?
Yeah, we've watched a few episodes.
Okay, what's transpired?
They just got past, the lover's guy. The little, fucking bug that gets in people's heads and replicates, damage.
It is weird that, in the beginning of JoJo's, when they introduced the stands, a lot of the stands are not just, humanoids. They're all very strange, like bugs or alien monster robot things. One stand is actually like a giant ghost ship or some shit. But then as JoJo goes on, they become a little bit more consistent in that they're all semi-humanoid. I mean, yes, the last time I talked about JoJo, there was a laptop that grew arms and legs and raped a woman and made a clone. Obviously, that's not super normal. But they're not as visually over the top as they once were, at least to me. I could be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I read something online that said that Star Platinum is actually the ghost of the original JoJo.
Really?
That he's modeled after the original JoJo. I didn't even realize that. Because he's got his, physique and his, face.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, yeah, he kind of does. All right. Because you gotta admit, the original JoJo is the most ripped JoJo.
Yeah, he is.
He was a big boy, so that would also explain why, he's so physically similar to Dio, who is literally wearing that body. So, all right, Bob, I guess this is your time to shine with Sword Art Online something.
This was actually a very good episode.
UK?
Because it involved Kirito, it didn't involve him, at all.
Awesome, so it involved Best Boy.
Yeah, it involved Yujiro, the best boy.
The blonde one?
Yep.
Okay.
He's climbing the tower. He gets to a sauna type fucking thing, and there's a dude in it.
Is a dude in the sauna?
Yeah.
Is he a nude dude in the sauna?
He's got a towel on.
Damn it.
Yeah, I know. You might
The show never gets gay enough, really. It really should get a lot gayer than it is.
Yeah. Well, it turns out to be the leader of the knights, the head one.
So the head knight just happens to be without his armor or weapons?
Yep.
Okay.
I think he feels like he doesn't need it. That's what I took from it.
Oh, that's kind of interesting.
And they argue. He asked if they killed, his apprentice was one of the knights on the lower level. So he's basically if you killed her, I'm gonna fucking murder you. And he's like, nah, man, she's all good. She's being treated right now. And he's just like, okay, well then I'm not gonna rip your innards out. I'm not gonna murder you horribly.
Is he avenging the Uncle of Dragons?
Sure.
Okay.
He is avenging the Uncle of Dragons.
Yes.
And so they start fighting, and Yu-Gi-Oh gets fucked up right off the bat pretty hard.
Is his name Yu-Gi-Oh or Yu-Gi-Oh?
Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yu-Gi-Oh.
I read
Yu-Gi-Oh.
it.
Okay.
But the guy's like power is he slashes, and anywhere his sword slashes, the damage, like the force from the slash stays in that spot. So if anyone walks in that spot, they'll take the damage. So it just like lingers there.
For how long?
I don't know. It didn't say.
Huh. So it's like this
But
kinetic force that's created that
Yep.
just... Okay, interesting.
And he gets pretty fucked up, but he figures a way to count it pretty fucking quickly. He like spawns a bunch of like icicles and shit, and he knocks him in the air, and he sword slashes him at the guy, and then he throws his sword away in the ceiling, and he creates like an ice fucking sword without the guy realizing it.
Okay.
And so he goes to block the guy's thing, and he blocks it with the ice sword, and then the ice sword shatters, and it like completely surprises the guy, and the guy thinks he's won since he doesn't have a sword, and it falls out of the ceiling, and he's fucking got it, and he just fucks up the guy. He freezes him to the ground, and then he starts summoning a bunch of fucking like roses that sap life.
Wait, who does? The best boy or the other guy?
Yeah, best boy.
He can summon roses that drain life?
Yeah, it's like his weapon's like ultimate ability.
Uh-huh.
He's basically like a CC character. He freezes people to the ground, and then he can bloom roses that just drain your life while you're frozen. So he does that, and then it goes into dialogue, and it was a good episode though.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it seems like more things that took actual thought, like actual ideas were expressed in this.
Yeah.
Because you know how I would have beaten him? The guy who makes the slashes? I thought when you said that he made a bunch of icicles is that he was going to create like an icicle prison and shoot them at the guy, so the guy made a bunch of slashes, like kind of blocking his own movements and then causing the dude to kill himself on his own like air slash waves.
Yeah, possibly.
Like that's what I would have done.
Yeah.
With my elite sword skills.
Exactly.
I learned
turns
a lot.
out the guy was
Yeah.
the guy was actually is like hundreds of years old. He's actually like a hero from like the folk tales from the starting village. But they all lose their memory and they don't know who they are. It's
Does any of that
into
matter,
more
though?
story. Not particularly.
Okay. Just making sure.
Not yet, at least.
So since we were kind of running out of shows to watch this season, I kind of went down the My Anime list and trying to find anything that would actually be of interest that you and I, Bob, could watch together that would have enough actual content for us to discuss. Because there was a few. There was that like one samurai one with the guy who was born with no eyes and no limbs, and that's based on a very like old classic manga, which looks really good. But we're not going to watch it for the show because action shows don't have a lot to talk about. Dude punch dude, guy slash dude, whatever. Episode ends. Need something that's...
That reminds me.
What?
Starting next week, I'm going to start talking about fucking Radiant. I'm starting to catch up on that.
Which one's Radiant again? Is that the one with like the special people with the special abilities?
Yeah,
Demons
that's
one?
Yeah, the demons one.
Okay. But I did have a little gem. I was watching one of my favorite anime YouTubers, Gigok. He did his a summary of what the winter anime season has looked like, and he talked a little bit about Promised Neverland. So he talked a little bit about Promised Neverland. He did say that there was a big twist by the end of episode 1, and that no one should continue watching the video. I did not click off the video fast enough, so I had a little bit of it spoiled for me, which I was a little disappointed about. But I jumped in, watched the first 3 episodes that night, watched the following 2 episodes the next day. So I'm 5 episodes in, completely caught up. I know, Bob, that you had mentioned that was a show that was on your list.
Yes.
And then you soon after watched all 5 episodes as well.
Yep, back to back. Binged them.
So this is unique. This is a show where both of us and our spouses are all watching this show.
I know it's fucked up, but my 2-week-old daughter's watching it too.
There you go. She's starting off right. Learn not to trust adults.
I'm gonna start telling her we're gonna send her to the farm.
Don't trust adults. Step 1. I really, really love. My God, I must say, stealing a little bit from Gigok there. That fucking intro is a banger, bro.
Yeah.
I love that intro song. It is so good. It's one of those. Yet again, this last like 5 or 6 animes I've watched. Such good intros. Such good intros. Don't skip a second of them. They found a way to have an entire children-oriented cast, and somehow they're not annoying. That's impressive. To go over like the main kind of semi-plot of this thing, this series does seem to have this kind of Victorian era tone to it, while simultaneously taking place in the modern to future time. So they kind of live like in a cottage. They have little to no technology. Their house mother looks like a fucking maid. They're all wearing like old school, like Depression era pajamas all the goddamn time. And I really got, and the thing that's so funny about this, when I first saw the cover art for this show, I thought it reminded me of 2 things. Kind of a Harry Potter thing, but mostly a Peter Pan thing. And that's before I even knew what the show was called. So when I'm like, man, that looks like Peter Pan, it reminds me of the intro sequence when he visits those kids in their bedroom and then whisks them off to Neverland. And then I read that the title of the show is fucking Promised Neverland. And I'm like, all right, so they knew exactly what they were doing with that one. They have multiple generations of children, ranging from babies to 11-year-old, was it 12-year-olds, 11-year-olds?
12, up to 12.
Up to 12. The kids all have different responsibilities based on their gender and age, and then they have a study classroom segment every day where they have to scan barcodes that represent the answers to their questions, which my wife had an interesting thought. She was wondering if the barcodes they were scanning was actually part of a production line that they were hiding as if it was a test. And their scores were just their accuracy on the production line. Which I'm like, you know what? That's actually a really good idea. I don't believe that's what's going on, because I'm pretty sure in Japan they do actually have some testing that is done where instead of filling in a little checkbox, you scan the right answer, and then the smart the smart pen knows what answers you chose to know if you were correct or not. It's supposed to help with like cheating and things. I think that's actually a real technology that is practiced in some places.
I don't know. I think it's just they like the tastier brains of the smart ones better.
But they never outright say that, though.
I know, but the more developed the brain is, then the more higher price they can get for it.
You're also jumping far
kids
into the story. You've not gotten there yet. So one of the children, a 6-year-old named Connie, it is established that Connie has a close relationship with, what is the name of the tall, dark-skinned one? Is he Dawn or Ron?
Yeah, Dawn.
Has a very protective relationship with her. I am glad they kind of established that, because it kind of gives it a little bit more emotional resonance with what happens later. She has chosen that she has been adopted. The kids wonder if they're ever going to hear from her again, because the other children that have been adopted never write back. The girl is walked to the front gate, which is always locked, and the children are warned from birth to stay away from. The mother, she says her goodbyes, and the mother walks her towards the gate. Now, the little girl is always accompanied by a stuffed bunny, which she is very close to her. They go into the dinner hall, and the bunny is sitting there on the table. I'm like, that's so strange, because 1, I didn't think they exited out through the dinner hall, and 2, wouldn't this little girl, even though she's happy that she's being adopted, be going apeshit over the fact that she doesn't have her bunny rabbit with her? That's what I would assume. So what is the name? Ray. Ray tells Emma and Norman, am I correct? It's so much easier when they have English names.
Yes.
So Ray tells Emma and Norman that if they hurry, they can make it and give Connie her bunny, which I thought was very strange, because Ray doesn't seem like the kind of character who would have them do something so hasty, which is kind of foreshadowing for what comes later. They rush off, they get to the front gate, and when they see that there's a carriage, they look inside the carriage to see if they can find Connie, and what they discover is Connie's lifeless body. She has been killed and has a flower that has been stabbed through her heart that is sticking out of her chest. We're still, at this point, not 5 episodes in, sure what the symbolism for that flower is. I know in Japanese mythology, there's lots of references to red flowers growing out of the dead, because I think at one point during the feudal era, there were people who died and plants literally grew through their corpses, and somehow that just became a thing. So I think this is supposed to be related to that in some way. They hide once they hear a noise and discover that the people involved with the death of their 6-year-old friend are demons. Horrible demons, but they look like Shinigami, because they have is Shinigami the word I'm looking for, like the black forms with like the white masks? Or am I thinking?
They look kind of like a fucked up version of the mage show that my wife fucking loved. I can't remember what it's called.
That is so helpful. They look like the main monster from Spirited Away, the one that eats the gold, the glutton. Anyway. They make their escape. The demons make it clear that they think that someone was there and let the mother know. So the mother is involved in the death of the small child. They then take...
Okay, hold on. They look like a really fucked up version of the main guy from the Ancient Magus Bride.
I mean, he's literally just wearing a fucking, like, bullhead.
No, that's his face.
I know that's his face, but I'm saying is that's what his skull looks like. They don't look like animal skulls.
Yeah, they did.
Anyway,
did.
we do, like I said, we realize that the mother is involved with the trafficking of these children. One of the demons picks up the dead girl, strips her of her clothes, and then places her in a containment tank. I'm assuming to preserve her meat for consumption later. What I don't fully understand is why kill her now? Why not kill her later?
Who knows?
I feel like that it's a waste. And like, I mean, you symbolically kill her with this flower and then you strip her of her clothes and then place her into a tank. I mean, I know that's what we do with meat. I mean, they can easily, you know, take her to where she needs to go. Obviously, it's not easy for us to transport cows to a fucking restaurant and then have it killed there. This is a little bit different of a situation, though.
Yeah.
So Emma and Norman, before they get back to the orphanage, try to be like, oh my God, what are we gonna do? This orphanage is a fucking human farm. We have to escape. How can we tell anybody? Mama's, you know, the person who's been taking care of us literally since birth is in on it. Their whole entire world is crumbling around them, right?
Yep.
I do really appreciate how they kind of talk, because they establish the characters, right? So before any of this happens, they establish that Emma is physically the most superior one, but she's also impulsive. But she also is very intelligent. He just doesn't use that intelligence. Norman is physically inferior. He's the most strategically minded, also very intelligent. Ray is very intelligent, but we don't know what else he is. I'm assuming we're supposed to say that he's like what, manipulative or something?
Yeah.
Like that's his skill, I guess.
I'd say that's pretty.
That's his skill.
Yeah.
Lying and deception.
Yep. I mean, he's supposed to be like a genius, but
they're all supposed to be geniuses technically, but just
in different
kinds.
ways.
Yeah.
He's more scummy than the others, though, it seems like.
What's weird though is that he's like supposed to be like the engineer one. Like he's supposed to be the one that's mechanically most minded, but Norman is the most strategic minded. You'd think it'd be the other way around, because usually the most scheming person is the most strategically minded, but I guess they wanted it to be kind of minor spoilers. There's a minor antagonistic relationship between Norman and Ray. They kind of have that light L thing going on. So they just needed them both to be geniuses in different ways. And eventually, you know, Ray kind of knows there's something going on, and to find out later, jumping ahead because it's not super important, Ray knew what was happening before Emma and Norman discovered the Connie's corpse. He was the one who stole the bunny. He was the one who told them to give the bunny back in hopes that his friends would discover the truth so he wouldn't be alone in having the knowledge and the burden of what was happening. Now that the mama knows that there are children who know the secret, instead of weeding them out, she knows how if it is she suspects it to be the most intelligent and oldest children, which are the most valuable to sell to demons, we assume. She doesn't want to kill them or send them out early, but she just want to kind of keep them under control until that day comes. What I don't fully get is how she thinks that she has everything under control, so she sends out for a mama in training who is this really kind of racially insensitive black woman. Giant lips, very large, likes to dance and sing, and has like a mammy doll to help her watch over the children, which creates kind of unnecessary conflict because she's kind of another gear, like a wrench in the gears, because she's motivated because she wants to become her own mama. She also thinks that Isabella, the house mother, is corrupt and breaking the rules. So if she can find dirt that she let this information get out and let the kids find out what's going on, she could get her, like, you know, disbarred as a house mama, and then she'll be able to take over her role. Which to me, is any of this necessary? Like, that little subplot is just like, we already have enough drama. We don't kind of need this third wheel of drama involved.
Yeah, it seems a bit much.
I mean, it's a bit much this early. If they would have waited until the kids were closer to organizing their escape, and then she brings on help, that'd make a little bit more sense. Now, I want to get more into the mechanics of what's going on. So I have been reading manga chapters in line with the episode, so I have no spoilers past the events that have happened in the episodes. I just kind of wanted to see what the differences were. Now, there are things that are hinted at and kind of subtly said in the anime that is explicitly stated in the manga. Now, Bob, I want to go over these with you, and you tell me if you notice these, okay? Isabella, the house mother, was also born in a human farm.
Yeah, I could see that.
She also has a neck tattoo with her number on it because she was raised just like the rest of her children were.
You think so? Does she?
She does. In the manga, you see it in like chapter 2, and she shows it repeatedly, but they've never shown it in the anime, which is odd because they do kind of explain that mamas were also raised in orphanages just like the rest of the children. The way we learn this is because when she's talking to Crone, which is the black mama, she asks her to memorize the files on all of the children in the house, right? And she tells her, don't worry, it's much less difficult than getting perfect scores every morning. And what we're supposed to gain from that is that Crone, just like the children, got perfect scores every day because she was also raised in one of these human farms. In the manga version, we have a flashback to Crone taking those tests, where in the anime, she just kind of says it. Now, another thing, Bob, did you notice, what year is it in the current timeline?
I have no clue.
Okay, now this is the thing. My wife picked up on this. I didn't pick up on it.
Was it 2015?
See, I
think they said 2015.
Yeah, hold on. Ray says, because in the I think it's like episode 3, Ray hands Emma a book when they're in the woods and has her look at it. He doesn't explain in the anime why she needs to look at this book. In the manga, he establishes the publishing date on the book jacket. The publishing date is 2015. He states...
They actually say 2015 in the anime somewhere. I don't remember.
I'm about to get there. In the manga, he says the publishing date on the book is 2015. He says in the entire library, that is the book with the most recent publishing date. And then when later on in the anime, they're discussing the possibility of there being tracking sensors on their bodies, right? Mm-hmm. And Ray says, based on what he's learned from the engineering book that was published in 2015, that technology did not exist. But we also know that it's not 2015 because the calendar that is constantly referenced, the calendar that's counting down to the next time a child is sent to be killed, in the very corner says 2045.
Really?
Yep, it is 2045. Ray also hints that they may have to murder Crone and their house mother to escape, right?
Yes.
And then Norman says there's a chance that there might be a warning sent to the demons if they are harmed. I think that's kind of a jump in assumption. I would not think that. Because we learn in, I think, episode 4.
Well, and that's the reason why you would have been sacrificed at 6 years old.
Hold on, motherfucker. Isabella makes nightly reports that everything's fine. Now, if I knew that, which Norman and Ray don't know that at this point, if I knew for a fact that Isabella...
I mean, Ray knows that.
Ray knows that. Spoilers, Ray has been working with Mama the entire time. Ray, who apparently at the age of 5, figured out that they were being grown and harvested for demon food, and then to save his own ass, offered to be an inside mole for Mama and watch the children. Which is such horseshit. I mean, it would be hard enough for me to believe that he did that at like 9 or 10 years old, let alone 5 years old. So I'm gonna just have to let that go to allow myself to continue to enjoy this. I got a little sidetracked there. He does state, though, that she rewards him for his work, and he requests different items to see how difficult it is for her to come by them to judge how fucked up the outside world is. I'm sorry, I don't care how smart this kid is. Yet again, there's no way he'd be smart enough to come up with that idea. But that is like Death Note level genius. Like, oh, I want this toy. Does that toy exist? If it does exist, how easy is it to come by? How many of them are there? Is it new? Is it damaged? And then kind of figuring things out from there. I'm trying to remember. In the anime, does Emma question Ray once he admits to her that he is a spy? Does she question him about testing the destruction of the tracking devices?
No.
No? I thought she did.
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, it is in the manga. Minor spoiler if it wasn't in the anime. I thought it was, though.
Don't ruin it. I haven't watched. Dick.
No, I'm just in that scene where he tells her that he is a spy.
Okay.
In that scene, in the manga at least, she says, is the reason that you're confident that you can destroy the tracking devices is because you've already tried on one of our brothers and sisters before, haven't you? And he's just like, oh shit, you kind of figured that out? And then she's like, just promise me you'll never do that again. Okay, let's move on. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Which is weird because to me, I don't know, like, what is to be... I mean, I understand what's to be gained by him doing that. Like, if 3 or 4 years ago he figured out they were behind their ears, whatever, and then he cut out the devices, which could have gotten one of his brothers or sisters killed, I feel like that could also have gotten him killed. But it seems like something he would not have done.
I could see him doing it. I don't think he actually cares about other people.
No, I'm saying it could have got him killed. Like, if Mama found out that he was cutting off some kid's ear to like, find the tracking device, you don't think that would have got him fucked over?
He's an arrogant little shit. He thinks he's smarter than everyone.
He's Sasuke, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. He's a little non-ninja Sasuke.
I don't know. He knows karate. He does.
That's true. And in the intro, isn't he like swinging from trees?
Yes, he is. Yes. Don't trust him. Don't trust him. Now, I really wanted to sit down and think about this. What do you believe? Like, what would you do to escape, Bob? Like, you personally?
I'd leave everyone behind.
Well, no shit. I'm not. That to me, that's an obvious thing. I'm saying, how would you physically escape? Would you just throw a rope over the fucking wall and just climb out and be like, I'm out, bitches, and just hope that the world on the other side's good?
I mean, what else can you really do?
Okay, this is my thing. This is what I would do. Like I said,
you gonna try and steal the car and drive away?
No. What I would do is get as much information about the outside world as possible. Similar to what Ray has been doing, but much more speedy, let's say. I would disable the mothers, not kill them, but disable them. But I wouldn't do this until I would have tracked their movements throughout the day. I want to know what they do hour by hour every single day. And if I had enough people working with me, I could determine this. And then I could figure out if they were in contact with a home office or not, which they would have discovered that Mother is in daily contact with her demon overlords. So knowing this, I would wait for her to make her contact with the demon overlords and then immediately disable her. Trip her, bust her head open, whatever I need to do. Tie her to a fucking chair. I've already tied Crone to a chair. Then I would torture the living fuck out of this woman. I would peel her flesh.
How do you plan on doing this, knowing how strong they fucking are compared to you? You watch that episode where they're fucking playing tag. There's no way they can actually disable Crone.
You're telling me that if I took a brick to the back of Crone's head, she's going to be able to stop me?
I'm pretty sure she's smart enough to know not to let you back there when she already suspects you.
Well, yes, but you're also dealing with 3 genius 12-year-olds. I think they can manage knocking a very large black woman unconscious.
Nah, I have no faith in it.
Anyway, I would torture her to get as much information as I could about the outside world. Not to let her die, because you never know. She could have some kind of fucking heart monitor that show that, like, once she dies, they warn the Home Office or some shit. Like I said, I think that's a little ridiculous, but theoretically it's possible. Get as much information about the outside world as possible, and you would know you have a time limit. That you would know if she makes a report at 9 o'clock every night, and you've been torturing her until like 5 a.m., you have like 19 hours or whatever the fuck. I didn't do the math there, but whatever. To get the fuck out. You'd be able to get supplies. You'd be able to take your time. You wouldn't be like, oh my God, we gotta get over the wall as fast as possible. Because, like, they're dealing with... I know Emma's retarded when she wants to do this, but Emma wants to get babies and 3-year-olds over, like, a 20-foot fucking stone wall. Never gonna happen.
Yeah.
Never going to happen. Anyway, that's what my plan would be. What do you think's gonna, like, where, like, I'm assuming more characters are gonna die, right?
I mean, they'd have to. Sorry.
Do you think any more kids are going to betray them? And who do you suspect?
They were always talking about that little fucking new kid that's, like, supposedly like a genius and super smart too. I think he's gonna betray him.
The one with the big smile, the dark.
Yeah.
That was on my list. Is like, it's not gonna be Dawn. It's not gonna be the little glasses girl,
Gilda.
The only person it could be was the little smart boy who has dark skin, where they're like, oh, his scores have improved so much. I don't trust that little fucker.
Neither do I.
I don't trust him. I think a lot of kids are gonna die, probably. Me and my wife are trying to take predictions of where we think the show's gonna go. I don't think they're going to escape. I think maybe one character will get out. They may or may not survive, but I think the show is going to begin and end in that fucking house.
You know, I hope so, because I have no faith in where they would take it if they escape. Like, what would they even do with the story in the universe at that point?
Because what are you going to have? Like, I mean, the thing is, you could tonally completely change the show. You could make the show a post-apocalyptic survival show where, like...
Yeah, but that's not what I signed up for, though.
No, I agree. If they wanted to make it, like, part 2 was Emma, like, in her teenage years, like, trying to protect her family in a demon-occupied apocalyptic world, I would still watch that, but it's not what I signed up for, like you said. But I think that's something they could do. I just don't think that's where they're going to go. Anime, a lot of the time, doesn't tonally change that much. They're a lot more scared to do those kinds of things. It's usually a lot more consistent. My prediction is that 1, if not 2, of the main 3 children are going to die by the end of the series.
I think it's going to be Emma.
You think she's going to die?
She's too naive. Yeah, I think she's going to die.
No, I think it's going to be a redemption thing. I think Ray is going to sacrifice himself.
Yeah, I could see that too.
I think Emma is going to become the next house mother.
Wow, that'd be cruel.
I think she's going to realize that the only thing she can do for the children born into this universe is make their life as happy as it can be until they're killed.
Before their gruesome, terrifying death?
Yes, I think...
You saw the look on Connie's face.
Oh, yeah, she
was terrified.
That shit was right out of fucking, like, that weird gore anime shit that people are into. Like, that was fucked up beyond belief. Yeah, that's no good. But yeah, I think that's what's going to end up happening. I think that Emma is going to realize that being the mother of that house is the lesser of two evils, and the only.
She could have been one of the kids from fucking that horror anime we watched not too long ago.
Corpse Party.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be that weird like full circle irony thing. And honestly, I think there's a chance. I think it's a small chance, but I do believe there is a chance that they're going to make Mama kind of like Snape from Harry Potter, where you think she's a huge evil villain the entire time, and then at the very end, like when she's dying, you find out that she was motivated by the greater good the entire time.
Trying to make their lives, decent while they're here.
Or she was training them to become like the generation of kids that would escape and like save humanity. Like her kids are she constantly says her kids are special, important, valuable. And I'm like, they might be to demons, but they also might be for humanity as well. Anyway, there's a lot of ways this could go. It's just going to be so hard to watch it week to week. You know what I mean? When they're just drip feeding you mystery and answers.
You just want to binge it.
It's like fucking watching like Lost again. Like, fuck you. I want to just watch all of it at once. This would have been a great Netflix show.
Yeah.
Oh, man. But I'm just glad we have something that we're both watching. I think we got a lot more of things when we both watch it. So let's finish up with Promised Neverland. Let's jump right into Rise of the Shield Hero. Oh man, this episode, I don't have a ton to say about this episode because I don't think I liked it.
Honestly, I don't even remember what happened this episode.
Oh my god. Well, luckily the format is Devo explains what happened. So you're about to relearn. Shield Hero takes Ralphia. Is it Ralphia? Raftalia. Takes Raftalia back to the slaver to get her slave.
Her seal.
Her slave seal replaced onto her chest. If I recall correctly, though, the slave seals disappear after a while, right? Like they're still there, you just can't see them. Didn't they say that when she was a child?
I never noticed it anymore in the manga, so I think it might just vanish, but it's still there underneath the skin.
Okay.
But I'm not 100% on that.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure either. A lot of people on the internet were confused by why she's re-getting the seal, which I think
it's a show of faith.
I agree. That's what I was gonna say. I think it's literally just for her to be like, I'm just proving to you that my life is in your hands. I trust you to not, fuck me over. I'm never going to turn my back on you. This is just confirmation that I'm never going to turn my back on you. That's how I took it. And while they're there, he offers them a deal on some sweet chocobo eggs. That could potentially...
They're not all chocobo eggs.
Like, one of them could potentially have a dragon in it, even though it's hard for me to believe that the egg that can contain a chocobo and the egg that can contain a dragon are the same fucking egg.
It's a fucking gacha game, Devo.
I understand that. The gotcha is there are no dragons.
Yeah. Or it's like... Yeah. Or the dragon egg is hidden under the table.
There you go. I'm trying to think, what happens in between them getting the egg and then them...
It's like skips forward a bit and it just hatches, I'm pretty sure.
Well, I'm pretty sure what they do is that they head to Loot Town or Loot Village to stay. And then at that point, while they're there, the egg hatches into... is it Philo or Frelo?
I thought it was Philo.
Philo? So Finger Looking Good hatches, and she is imprints on Shield Hero. And grows quite fast, even though she's not leveling up, because they kind of imply that monsters grow by leveling up, but they don't do anything to cause her to level up in the beginning. They just feed her food, which is kind of a contradiction to something they just established in the previous episode. Tonally, this show is scaring me because it's getting into traditional isekai bullshit that I don't like. It's very happy. It's very bright. Nothing is being taken super seriously, and I'm getting scared. Eventually, due to royal decree or whatever, Spear Hero and Cunt Bitch show up and say that he is now the Lord of Loot Town. And he will be implementing a tax which is like 300 times the average stay at a local inn, which is going to bankrupt the entire town. I'm guessing that Cunt Bitch told him, hey, this is an easy way for us to make money. You're a lord. Tax them all to high heaven, and then we can go buy some armor, yo. I guess that's what happened.
Yeah. I don't know why she's so fucking evil.
But the thing is she's now comically evil.
Yeah, there's no justification for it.
No, like this goes from her being legitimately evil, like sociopath, to her being over the top mustache twirling villain. Like this is Team Rocket levels of stupid.
Yeah.
Shield Hero steps in and he's like, fuck y'all. And they're like, yeah, this is Shield Hero's town. He saved us. And now everybody's on his side. Which
he doesn't step in. They ask him to.
Well, whatever. But I'm saying is what fucks with this, though, is the whole point of Shield Hero's character is that it's a man fighting against the world. But now that everyone recognizes that Cunt Bitch is a cunt bitch and Spear Guy is a fucking cuck, and the whole town is on his side, and we also learn that the queen in this matriarchy is also on his side, which is very confusing considering everyone else in her lordship or whatever fucking hates the Shield Hero, but she likes him, makes me feel like the world's not against him, which defeats his motivation or hinders his motivation. Now things are looking kind of bright, and I don't want them to look bright. I want him to be constantly face in the mud, clawing for whatever he has. That is what I liked at the beginning. That's what I want it to continue to be, but that's not where it's going. They challenge themselves to a fucking race, which is stupid. I mean,
that was in the manga too. You knew.
I know. I thought it was stupid then too. But it's like one of those things where, like, if you have a new Chocobo character, you have to establish them somehow, and I guess the best way to establish them is to have them fucking show how fast they are. Finger Looking Good kicks Spear Guy in the nuts, which created the meme of the week, which is Shield Hero being like, so how's your crotch? That's popping up everywhere. It's not even that funny. The race begins, and Frilo just kicks the ass of this dragon. Just got nothing on this. She's just wrecking this dragon. They use earth magic to dig a hole, tripping the Chocobo, which we know is in the manga. I don't recall in the manga them using speed up and speed down.
Yeah, I don't remember that either.
I don't recall that. I believe it happened. I just don't recall it happening. But due to Philo, I'm just going to keep calling her Finger Looking Good, wants to win so bad every single time there is a obstacle ahead of her, she exceeds expectations. So the dragon has speed up, she has speed down, she fell in the fucking hole, is on the outside of the track, and still outruns this fucking dragon, winning the race by a nose. And then swelling to Giant Chicken. Which, Giant Chicken doesn't seem super appropriate to ride, but it's probably a lot better at pulling large objects, such as a cart. I do love that Shield Hero, though, when he goes to the village, and he's like, yeah, I won your right to not be taxed. Where's my reward? And they're like, oh, we're getting together the money, sire. And he's like, bitch, what's the whole point of me saving your village from taxation if you're just gonna give me all your fucking money? Just give me that fucking cart. And if you got a daughter, bring her too. Just throw her in the back of the cart. It's fine.
Have her bring her friends.
Have her bring her friends. No matter how old they are, it's fine. This is medieval times. No one cares. and somebody summon my slave trader. I need some seals.
Yep.
He'll have a raid party ready. Just slave girls.
And bring the chicken to my bedroom as well.
Yes. And plenty of wet naps. You know it gets greasy. Damn it. Anywho, they go off and they're given a trade token gold bar thing. So Shield Hero, to make extra money, is going to start trading goods from one town to another, which is kind of interesting and justifies them moving from one town to another so they can experience new quests and enemies and friends along the way. Ralphia, or whatever the fuck her name is. Raftalia. Raccoon bitch gets sick, motion sickness, from being on the cart. So has them stop for the night because she feels sick, and then he very sensually lays her down without her boots on so she can rest. And then he takes his watch near the campfire as the giant chicken lays her head in his lap. Waking the next morning with a blonde, blue-eyed, like little angel-winged lolly in his lap, and is like, Papa? And that's essentially the end of the episode. Which is not how it happens in the manga. In the manga, they put her in a giant cage to control her because he wants to find out why she grew into a giant chicken, and takes her to the slave trader and is like, dude, why did my chocobo grow? And then while doing that, she turns into the lolly to ask to like be let out of the cage. That's much different. I don't know, man. I don't like, because like how is her personality going to be that much different than Raccoon Girl? They're just two girls who love their master and will do anything for them and will kill anybody who looks at them the wrong way. Like, I don't know. I'm just afraid like all of the drama is gone. I'm sad. Because I know, honestly, I know because I've read all the chapters of the manga. The second half of the manga, all the drama kind of is gone. And I just feel like it's just draining out of the anime even faster. And it's just becoming standard isekai fare, with our villains being over-the-top idiots.
Yeah.
You have anything to say about Finger Licking Good, Bob?
He fucked her into a real girl.
He did. It is funny, though, on anime Reddits, because of the potential lolly ban, no one is posting anything having to do with a pink-haired girl from Slime anymore.
She's like 2,000 though.
Bob, it doesn't matter, remember, as long as someone who doesn't know could confuse her with being underage, you can't show her anymore.
Yeah.
And then everybody wanted to talk about Finger Licking Good, so what they did with her is that the running joke was to put giant live action clothing over her. Just her wearing like giant shirts and pajamas and things. Just like, can we talk about this character now, please? It's fucking pathetic. Anywho, so we'll be back next week. We'll have Slime and more Neverland. So hope everybody's looking forward to that. Bob, why don't you go ahead and... No, wait, hold on. You jumped the gun on that one. Usually I tell you to say bye to the people. It's a good like 9 seconds before the reply, but I'm not even finishing the sentence. You're like, bye, everybody. All right, Bob. All right. Now you can say goodbye to the people.
Bye, everybody.
Fucking hate you.